Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Robert and I'm coming up with another video related to settings and key bindings in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. The reason I have decided to revisit this topic is because I have received plenty of comments. By the way, thank you very much for all the comments and for following my channels and watching my videos. I really appreciate that. But from many comments, I realized that lots of people are still having issues with this, or maybe a confusion or struggling with certain things. So I have decided to bring yet another video covering a bit of the creating custom profile and explaining a couple things which I haven't explained in previous video. So let's just jump right into it. Just keep watching, guys, because I'm sure at the end you'll be finally able to fly your favorite planes, and hopefully you'll figure out all the struggles you have had previously. All right, so first thing first, again, when you come to simulator for the first time or when you restart it, and if you didn't set a new created profile as default, you will be always presented with this default profile, which is 2024 transversal and 2024 planes. Now, the ideal thing to do, and I would recommend it to anyone, is to create your own profile and assign the keys to your likings, because everyone's different. Someone might like certain keys to control this, someone might like something else. So how to do that? Well, first thing first, you need to duplicate these two. So we have general controls and airplane controls. Notice by looking down here on the left hand side, bottom left, we have filters, right? It says none. If I click on it once, we can see assigned. So all these buttons and axes are assigned currently under these settings, right? So is it possible to just look at it and go from there? Of course, yes. But then again, if you are not familiar with many of these settings, then you'll be just confused. You can also see essential filters, but I'd like to keep it on none. All right, so make sure it's on none. So next step is to go over here and click on that little settings button and just hit duplicate. It's going to ask you to give it a new name. So I'm gonna actually name it this time General Profile 1. Okay, you can name it anyhow you want to. Click OK. And I'm gonna do the very same thing for the airplane controls. So click on that settings button, duplicate, just give it the same name. So it's under one profile, General Profile 1. Click OK. Next thing is, because we just did what? We duplicated the profile which was default in the sim, and that profile had some assignments, as you saw, right? Because if I click now on assigned, I still see the same assigned keys because we just basically copied that, right? Duplicated. So let's put it back to none. So what we have to do now to delete all the keys and start from scratch is to click on these little settings buttons again. So on the general profile 1, and then hit clear. It's gonna ask you if you really want to do it. You don't have to be worried because you created a copy of the default profile. So you're not deleting anything from default profile, which is already saved. So hit OK. And the same thing under general profile. Clear and hit OK. Now we have created this general profile 1, and none of the keys or axes are assigned. So if you would go now into the game and start flight, nothing would work. Also, what I want to focus on this very video is that maybe some of you do not have rudder pedals, as I do. So perhaps you want to control rudders with your joystick, right? This is also something which I'm going to show you how to assign. Okay. So let's start with the flight control surfaces, because that's the basic one. That's something we need for controlling the aircraft, right? We hit flight control surfaces here, and we go to primary control surfaces. And then we are going to scroll all the way down where we see ailerons axis and elevator axis. So in order to take off or descend, we need elevator axis. So I'm gonna click once with the left mouse button on this area over here. And once I do, it's scanning. And now I will move my joystick down or up, it doesn't matter. And it will record axis Y. If then we have to assign ailerons, so in order to go left and right. So basically again, come over here, click on empty space once with your left mouse button, and then when it says scanning, move your joystick left or right, and then it's gonna say axis X and Y. All right, for ailerons it's axis X, and for elevator axis Y. So the next thing is rudder. That's the thing which I just mentioned a minute ago. And this is where the confusion may happen, because as you can see, there's plenty of different rudder settings over here. And you might be thinking it's this one over here, rudder axis left and rudder axis right, but it's not. And when I tested it first time, I was thinking, yes, that's the one for sure, but it wasn't that one, and it didn't work. So the axis, by tilting joystick or rotating joystick basically in the axis Z or Z, you would have to assign it to rudder axis, this one over here. Rudder axis, it's only one window. Notice these ones are separated by left and right, but we're looking for this one, rudder axis. And then hit it with, or click on it once with the left mouse button. And when it's a scanning, just rotate that axis Z like that. I guess you guys know what I mean by that. It's not tilting joystick left and right, but it's rather rotating in the axis. So now we have assigned rudders to this Thrustmaster side stick. And the next thing I would like to set is some flaps. So we will go to, I think it's under secondary control surfaces. Yes, flaps. We will do decrease flaps and increase flaps. So we can also set extend flaps or flap axis 0 to 100. That would be for the actual axis. But I usually like to set two buttons. One would be decrease flaps and the other one extend flaps. I'm sorry, decrease flaps and the other one increase flaps. So decrease flaps, I click once with my left mouse button over here in empty space, and I hit the button of your choice. So it doesn't really matter which button you'll assign it to, but you can choose whatever, right? I click once, it'll record, and then I go to increase flaps, and I also record the button of my choice. Done. Okay. Next, I would like to have some trim, controller trim, so we can go to control trimming surfaces and elevator trim up and elevator trim down, where it says nose down, nose up. So elevator trim down, and I press the button of my choice on the joystick, and the elevator trim up, I press the button of my choice on the joystick again. Now I have assigned the trim wheel, and we can close this one. The next thing we would like to assign is some power, right? We would like to control throttle if we have only joystick. So in this case, this slider over here in the middle, we will assign it to throttle. That would be going back, and we're looking for power management, and then throttle, the last option here, and throttle axis, throttle one axis over here, actually throttle axis. So the general throttle axis, we have a one bind to assign. So in this case, I'm gonna assign this slider over here. So what you have to do, click on it once and then slide it. And it says joystick slider X, do you see? So that would be that. We can go back. And then we can also assign some parking brakes, releasing parking brakes. So toggle parking brakes in that case. I'm gonna assign the button of my choice. So again, the same process. There we go. But another thing I wanted to show you guys is about the camera functions, which usually falls under general controls, right? So we go back and we look for camera, because I would like to assign my head switch, this head switch on the top over here. So we click on camera and we are going into cockpit camera. So click on it once, and what we are looking for is over here. Cockpit look down, cockpit look down left. So you need to go one by one and keep pressing the head switch in the direction of that particular command. So cockpit look down, I'll click once with the mouse and I pull the head switch down, okay? It records it over here. I do the same thing for look down left, so I have to press it down left. Click once, press it down left, and it record it. The same thing down right. There you go. Again, down right, okay. If you noticed, I actually hit it once and it went to the right only, so you have to do it again if you need to see basically down right, down left, right? Cockpit look left. So again, this case I'm gonna pull the head switch towards me. No, I'm sorry, cockpit look left, so left. Then cockpit look right, right, and cockpit look up, up. Now we have to do cockpit look up left. There we go. And cockpit look up right. All right. So let me just look up right. Yeah, now it's correct. And one more thing is I would like to have this little button over here to switch between external view and cockpit view. So just one press would switch it between external view and the cockpit view. This function can be found in camera mode switches, and it says cockpit external view mode. So I click once over here and I hit that button, and now I can go back and I have assigned everything I need to, at least for now. And now an important thing. So we did create this profile, right? We assigned the keys of our choice. And there were a few comments and questions on my previous videos about what it does when we click over here and it says apply to all aircraft or set as default. Well, it kind of does exactly what it says. I know it could be confusing. I completely understand it, and that's why I want to help you. So what I want to show you now, I have pre-selected before Cessna aircraft, right? And we have this general profile 1 created, what we just did now. So technically, if we hit save and back and go to flight, it's gonna all work, and I'll show you later on. But there is something else I want to show you. Just this is actually very important, okay? So I haven't clicked on set as default, and I also haven't clicked to apply all to all aircraft. First thing is I want to show you something. If we go save and back, and now I'm going to free flight, and let's just say I started simulator next time, or later when I finish the flight, I want to fly with different aircraft, right? So I'm just gonna select, let's say, this Cirrus Vision Jet. Now I save and back, so when I selected different aircraft, and we go to settings, controls, and look what happened. It went back to Cessna 172, which was the profile I have created before, and it is different, slightly different profile. So it didn't stay on the profile we have just created, right? So what happens now? Well, first thing first, you still have that profile over here, which is right here. So you can select it and go to fly. However, if I want this general profile one, which we just created, to be as default and always be available for whatever aircraft I select without me always going back and reselect it, all you have to do is go to the settings next to general controls, click set as default, and the same thing for airplanes controls, click and set as default. Now if I save and back and go to click to whatever aircraft, so some other one, let's say we will go for, doesn't really matter, the air tractor, and then save and back, and I can go to settings and controls. Now it should be on that general profile, which it is. Do you see? So I have changed the aircraft, but the system will remember that profile which we created, and also we set it as default. So no matter what aircraft we change or we select now, it'll be always assigned to this general profile one which we created. You might be asking, but did it delete it or did it overwrite it any other profiles? No, it didn't. So you can always go back to whatever profile you have created, right? And you can change it. That way you can actually create profile for every aircraft differently. That is the beauty of it. It is just confusing. That's the thing. So I hope this does make sense to you guys. And I hope it's starting to making a bit more sense than it was before. I'm hoping that this answered many of your questions. And just to show you and demonstrate that we have set the joystick correctly, let's go and take a look how it works now. So I'm gonna go back. Let's select Cessna. It's just a general aircraft. Something it's easy to show. So let's go back to Cessna 172, save and back.
Mosnow Tower Easy 122 at runway 22, ready for departure, departing straight out.
Alright guys, so we are in the sim, we are in the Cessna aircraft. It's all started for us because I set it up to start from the runway. I just want to demonstrate that everything works as it's supposed to. So if you remember the rudder pedals, right? Let's look at them. We have set that to the twisting axis on the joystick, so let me try it. And as you can see, it works. It works perfectly fine. I'm twisting the joystick and the rudders are working as it's supposed to. And now let's check the yoke. So I go left and right. I go push and pull. So it works fine. Let's just check our trim wheel. So yes, it all works as I assign it to the keys of my choice. Let's now check the throttle. There we go, it works perfectly fine. And the flaps, perfect. So that all works. And also, do you remember that we have assigned the head switch, right? So I'm gonna start moving head switch now and look what happens. It's working perfectly fine, so I'm just continuously holding it or just moving it slowly, it doesn't matter, but it does work. So I can use the head switch looking around. Of course I can do the very same thing with mouse, which is probably much more smooth. You know, I personally prefer to move around by holding the right mouse button and just move. However, some people like to have the head switch assigned this way. Of course, there are plenty of other options. By using head switch, you can have it assigned when you click once and hold it. It'll kind of look to the left all the way. But what I did, I have assigned the head switch to continuous look. So that means that you can look all around the cockpit by using the head switch on the joystick. And let's just quickly take off. And I think I assigned release parking brake. Yes, I did. So let's just take off and test the aircraft. Now I'm not gonna use my rudder pedals, okay? I'm gonna use the twisting function I have assigned, and it works perfectly fine. So I'm only using joystick, nothing else, no rudder pedals, and I'm using twisting function to control the rudders. There you go, guys, and we're flying. Can head switch, look around. It's perfect, it's working. All right, and let me just go quickly to main menu. And very last thing I wanted to mention is about the keyboard. I did make a video. I think the last video I made was about the keyboard setup. So go ahead and watch that video. You should be seeing that link on the screen just now. And the only thing I forgot to mention about that. So if I go to keyboard, you can also set up to have it connected to all the aircrafts. And in that case, I would kind of recommend it. I think you don't have to do it, right? But there's no harm to, once you set it up following that previous video, then you can actually hit that apply to all aircraft. So in that case, that keyboard will be always set the same way for all the cameras and all the shortcuts, the way just like you like it. And in most cases, it always apply to all aircraft, because usually what I do with keyboard is to use it for camera views, such as instruments, like hitting Control 1, Control 2, Control 3, hitting spacebar to go with upper with the view, pressing F to return to the default position of the camera. So this is just a little detail, but it works exactly same way like with any other devices. So you can either set it as default keyboard and always have it available without changing it by itself. Whenever you change the aircraft, if I don't set it as default, it will switch back to the 2024 settings. So this is not something what we don't want, right? And it can be annoying, always going to settings and always changing it back and forth. Anyways, guys, I hope that this video has been helpful. I hope that this video answered the rest of the questions you may have had. Please feel free to drop any comments and do like the video if you enjoy my content. And please hit that subscribe if you don't subscribe yet. And I'll see you next time with the upcoming videos. Thank you very much for your support and have a wonderful day. Bye.